Imagine working for the most powerful woman on Wall Street, staying careful, keeping your distance, until a single innocent moment turns everything upside down. Emma Reed thought she understood her role in Victoria Hale's world, unseen, professional, untouchable. But when the CEO spots her comforting a friend and mistakes it for something more, the balance shifts. Before we jump in, make sure to hit subscribe, ring the notification bell, and drop a comment letting me know where you're watching from. A sleek black limousine rolled to the curb. Inside, Victoria Hale watched through tinted glass as her assistant held another woman on the sidewalk. Her chest tightened in a way she couldn't explain. I pressed my phone to my ear, juggling 3 coffee cups while weaving through the crowded Manhattan streets, another chaotic Tuesday morning racing to the office. "Emma, I can't do this anymore," Lily's voice cracked through the speaker. "He left me, just left." My stomach sank. "Where are you?" "Outside the Starbucks on 5th. I'm a mess." I checked my watch. Victoria Hale expected her morning briefing in 20 minutes, and being late was never an option when working for the most feared CEO in finance. But Lily was my best friend since college. "Stay there, I'm coming." I found her sitting on the curb, mascara streaked down her cheeks, her world clearly in pieces, or at least in dramatic collapse, knowing Lily. "Hey," I whispered, setting the coffees down and wrapping her in my arms. "It's okay, you'll be okay." She buried her face into my shoulder. 5 years, Emma, 5 years wasted." I held her tighter, stroking her hair. "His loss, babe, complete idiot." What I didn't notice was the black limousine idling across the street, engine humming, someone inside watching. Victoria Hale sat frozen, her manicured fingers gripping the leather seat. On her way to an early meeting, she had caught sight of me, the invisible, efficient assistant, in what appeared to be an intimate embrace with a stunning blonde. A strange, unfamiliar sensation gripped her chest. "Ma'am?" her driver asked. "Should we proceed to the Goldman meeting?" Victoria's jaw tightened. "Change of plans. Take me to the office." She couldn't look away from the scene, the protective way I held the woman, shielding her from passers-by, the gentle, tender touch. "I didn't know she had someone," Victoria whispered, almost to herself. The driver glanced at the rearview mirror, puzzled. In 5 years of working for Victoria Hale, he had never heard her sound like that. Vulnerable. Back on the sidewalk, I helped Lily to her feet. "Come on, let's get you cleaned up. There's a bathroom in the lobby of my building. I can't let you be late because of me." Lily sniffled. "Don't worry about it. Victoria will survive 5 extra minutes." But as we walked toward the towering glass building of Hale Enterprises, I felt it, that prickly awareness when someone is watching. I glanced over my shoulder, scanning the street, but nothing seemed out of place, just the usual New York chaos. The limousine had already disappeared around the corner. Upstairs, Victoria paced her corner office like a trapped predator. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the city below, yet her eyes weren't on the skyline. She replayed the street scene in her mind again and again. Emma Reed, her assistant for 3 years. Quiet, capable, professional, never a hair out of place, never a personal detail shared. And yet now, Victoria realized she knew nothing about my life beyond these walls. That thought unsettled her more than she expected. "Miss Hale?" My voice came through the intercom. "I have your morning briefing ready." Victoria's pulse spiked. "Come in." I entered with my usual efficiency, keeping my composure intact. Tablet in hand, hair pulled back in a neat bun. Professional, untouchable. But now, Victoria saw something different. The faint redness around my eyes, the way I avoided meeting her gaze. "The Goldman meeting has been moved to 10:30, I began, consulting my notes. "The quarterly reports are on your desk, and—" "Emma?" I looked up, startled. Victoria never used my first name. "Yes, ma'am?" She studied my face, searching for something. Signs of heartbreak, maybe. "Love, are you all right? You seem distracted." My cheeks warmed. "I'm fine, just a friend having a rough morning." A friend? Victoria's voice carried a sharp, almost knowing edge. The blonde woman? My blood ran cold. How did she know about Lily? Yes, I admitted. She's going through a breakup. Victoria nodded slowly, yet something flickered in her eyes, something close to relief. I see. Well, make sure your personal life doesn't interfere with your work. Her words cut, but I kept my face calm. Of course not, Miss Hale. As I turned to leave, Victoria called out, Emma. Yes? Cancel my lunch meeting with the Peterson account. I want you to join me instead. We need to discuss the upcoming merger. I blinked, surprised. In 3 years, Victoria had never once invited me to lunch. Of course. Should I make reservations somewhere? No need. We'll eat in my private dining room. After I left, Victoria sank into her leather chair, heart pounding. She had acted on impulse, something she rarely allowed herself. Yet the memory of me holding that woman, comforting her with such care, had stirred something she thought long buried, the longing to be touched that way, to matter to someone beyond quarterly profits and stock prices. She picked up her phone and scrolled to my contact info. Emma Reed, assistant. That was all the file said. No emergency contact, no relationship status, no personal details. And suddenly, Victoria realized she wanted to know everything. The private dining room felt smaller than usual. Victoria sat across from me, barely touching her salmon, while I tried to focus on the merger documents spread between us. The Henderson acquisition should close by Friday, I said, pointing to the timeline. Legal needs your signature on the final contracts. Victoria nodded, but her attention seemed elsewhere, her gaze drifting to me instead of the papers. She kept glancing at me with an intensity that made my skin tingle. Emma, how long have you worked for me? 3 years? 2 months? The answer came automatically. And in all that time, you've never mentioned having a partner. I nearly choked on my water. I'm sorry, the woman from this morning, your girlfriend? My face burned. Lily isn't my girlfriend, Miss Hale, she's my friend. My straight, recently single friend who needed a shoulder to cry on. Victoria's fork froze halfway to her mouth. Oh. The silence stretched between us, thick with something I couldn't name. Her cheeks had the faintest hint of pink, and for the first time since I'd known her, she looked flustered. I apologize, she said finally. I shouldn't have assumed. It's fine, I murmured, noting the relief in her eyes when I corrected her. It felt like something had subtly shifted between us. Victoria leaned back in her chair, studying me with those sharp green eyes that had intimidated countless board members. So, you're single. It wasn't a question, it was a statement, charged with something I couldn't quite place. Yes. My voice came out smaller than I intended. Interesting. Before I could ask what she meant, her phone buzzed. Victoria glanced at the screen, her expression tightening. The Peterson meeting I canceled? They're threatening to pull out of the deal entirely. Apparently, they don't appreciate being rescheduled. My stomach dropped. I can call them, try to smooth things over. No, Victoria's voice was firm. Let them walk. If they can't handle a simple scheduled change, they're not the kind of partners we want. I stared at her. Victoria Hale didn't let million-dollar deals disappear over lunch, ever. Ma'am, are you sure? The Peterson account represents... I know exactly what it represents. She stood, moving toward the window. But some things are more important than money. The way she said it, her gaze settling on me, made my heart skip. My phone buzzed with a message from Lily. Thanks for this morning. You're the best friend a girl could ask for. I smiled, typing back a quick reply. Good news from your friend? Victoria asked. I realized then that she'd been watching me. She's feeling better, I said softly. Thank you for asking. Victoria moved closer, close enough that I could catch the scent of her perfume, expensive, intoxicating. You care about her very much. She's important to me. And what about work? Is this job important to you? The question caught me off guard. Of course, this is my career. Just your career? Victoria's voice dropped lower. Nothing more? I looked up at her, confused by the strange tension in the room. I don't understand what you're asking. Victoria's hand moved to the table, her fingers just inches from mine. I'm asking if you're happy here, Emma, if you feel valued. My breath caught. The way she said my name, the intensity in her eyes, it felt like we were speaking two different languages. Yes, you're an excellent boss. Something flickered across her face. Disappointment. Just a boss? Before I could respond, her assistant knocked on the door. Miss Hale, the board meeting starts in 10 minutes. The spell broke. Victoria stepped back, her professional mask sliding back into place. Of course. Emma, clear my schedule for tomorrow afternoon. I want you to accompany me to the charity gala, the Children's Hospital fundraiser. But that's not a business event. No, it's not. Victoria gathered her papers. I'll need someone I trust by my side, someone who understands discretion. As she reached the door, she paused, and Emma, wear something elegant, will be photographed. After she left, I sat alone in the dining room, my thoughts spiraling. In 3 years, Victoria had never invited me to a social event, never asked about my personal life, never looked at me the way she had today, like she was seeing me for the very first time. My phone rang. Lily. Hey, how's work? Did the Ice Queen give you grief for being late? Actually, she was understanding. Victoria Hale understanding? Are we talking about the same woman who made that intern cry last month? I thought about the way Victoria had asked about my relationship status, the relief in her eyes when I said I was single, the way she'd canceled a $1 million meeting just to have lunch with me. I think there might be more to her than we realize. Emma Reed, please tell me you're not developing feelings for your boss. My silence was answer enough. Oh my God, you are. Emma, she's Victoria Hale. She eats people like us for breakfast, I said quietly. Promise me you'll be careful. Women like her, they're dangerous. After hanging up, I stared out the window at the city below. Dangerous. Maybe Lily was right, but as I replayed the way Victoria had looked at me, the vulnerability I'd glimpsed behind her armor, I realized I was already in too deep to care. Tomorrow night, I'd be by her side at the city's most exclusive event, not as her assistant, but as something else entirely, something that terrified and thrilled me in equal measure. The black dress hung in my closet like a question mark. I'd spent my entire savings on it. Silk, elegant, the kind of dress that belonged in Victoria's world, not mine. My hands trembled as I applied lipstick. Red, bold, the kind of color that made statements. The knock on my apartment door came at exactly 7 o'clock. Victoria Hale was nothing if not punctual. I opened the door and forgot to breathe. She stood there in a midnight blue gown that hugged every curve, her dark hair swept up to reveal the elegant line of her neck. Diamond earrings caught the hallway light. She looked like she'd stepped straight off a magazine cover. You look? Victoria's eyes traveled down my body slowly, appreciatively. Stunning. Heat flooded my cheeks. Thank you. You look incredible. Shall we? She offered her arm and I took it, trying to ignore the electricity that shot through me at the contact. The limousine ride was pure torture. Victoria sat close enough that I could feel the warmth radiating from her skin, smell her perfume, and notice the way she kept glancing at me when she thought I wasn't looking. Nervous? She asked as we pulled up to the Plaza Hotel. A little. I've never been to anything like this. Victoria's hand covered mine, warm and reassuring. Stay close to me. I'll take care of you. The protective, possessive edge in her voice made my stomach flutter. Inside, the ballroom was a sea of designer gowns and tuxedos. Manhattan's elite mingled beneath crystal chandeliers, champagne glasses glinting in the light. I felt like an imposter until Victoria's hand settled on the small of my back, guiding me through the crowd. "Victoria," a silver-haired man approached us. "Wonderful to see you. And who is this lovely young woman?" "Emma Reed," Victoria said, her hand still resting on my back. "My companion for the evening." The pause on the word companion sent shivers down my spine. We moved through the crowd, Victoria introducing me to senators, CEOs, and celebrities. Each time her hand found some excuse to touch me. My back, my arm, my shoulder, each touch felt deliberate, claiming. "You're good at this," I murmured as we moved away from a group of investment bankers. "At what?" "Working the room, making everyone feel important." Victoria stopped walking, turning to face me. "Is that what you think I'm doing with you? Making you feel important?" The intensity in her voice caught me off guard. I don't know, Emma." She stepped closer, close enough that I could see flecks of gold in her green eyes. "You are important. More than you realize." Before I could ask what she meant, the lights dimmed and a voice announced dinner. Victoria had arranged for us to sit at her private table, away from the main crowd, just the two of us in a corner alcove, surrounded by flickering candles and the soft murmur of conversation. "This is nice," I said, trying to break the tension that seemed to follow us everywhere. "I wanted to talk to you, really talk, away from the office, away from interruptions." My heart hammered in my chest. "About what?" Victoria took a sip of wine, her eyes never leaving mine. "About you. About us. Us. Don't pretend you haven't felt it, Emma, this thing between us." It had been building for months. I nearly dropped my fork. "Victoria, I know it's complicated. I know I'm your boss, that there are rules, boundaries, but I can't stop thinking about you." The confession hung between us like a live wire. "Since when?" My voice was barely a whisper. "Since the day you started," she admitted, vulnerability flickering across her features. But I buried it, told myself it was inappropriate, until yesterday when I saw you with that woman and realized I was jealous, desperately, irrationally jealous. My mind reeled. "You were jealous of Lily? I thought she was your girlfriend. The way you held her so tenderly, I wanted that. I wanted to be the one you comforted, the one you cared about." I stared at her, this powerful woman who commanded boardrooms and made million-dollar decisions, looking at me like I held her heart in my hands. "Victoria, this is crazy. You're my boss. You could ruin my career with a phone call. I would never hurt you." Her hand reached across the table, covering mine. "Emma, I've spent my entire life building walls, keeping people at a distance, but with you, those walls don't exist." I looked down at our joined hands. Her skin was soft, warm, real. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying I'm falling for you. Hard. And I think you feel it too." She was right. God help me, she was right. The way my pulse raced whenever she entered a room, the excuses I made to stay late hoping for a few extra minutes in her presence, the way I'd started choosing my outfits based on what might catch her eye. "This is insane," I whispered. The best things usually are. A photographer approached our table. "Miss Hale, could we get a photo for the society pages?" Victoria's hand tightened around mine. "Of course." She pulled her chair closer, her arms sliding around my waist. The camera flashed, freezing us in what looked unmistakably like an intimate moment. "Beautiful couple," the photographer said before moving on. Victoria didn't correct him. Neither did I. "Emma," she said softly, "I know this is overwhelming. I know I'm asking you to risk everything. but I can't pretend anymore that what I feel for you is professional. I met her gaze, seeing past the CEO, past the power and the money, to the woman beneath it all, vulnerable, hopeful, terrified. "What happens now?" I asked. "Now we decide if we're brave enough to find out where this leads." The music swelled around us as couples drifted onto the dance floor. Victoria stood and offered her hand. "Dance with me." It wasn't a request. I took her hand and let her lead me onto the floor. She pulled me close, closer than was strictly appropriate, her hand splayed across my lower back. "Everyone's watching," I murmured. "Let them watch." Her lips brushed my ear as she spoke. "Let them see that you're mine." The possessiveness in her voice should have frightened me. Instead, it sent heat pooling low in my stomach. As we swayed together, I realized I was already lost. Whatever this was between us, whatever the consequences, I was in too deep to turn back. Victoria Hale had claimed me, and God help me, I wanted to be claimed. The society page photo hit the internet before we even left the gala. Victoria and I, looking intimate and undeniably together, splashed beneath the headline, "Mystery Woman Captures Ice Queen's Heart." My phone exploded with notifications as we sat in the back of the limousine. "Ignore it," Victoria said, though tension tightened her jaw. "Easy for you to say," I replied. "You're not the nobody who just got photographed with Manhattan's most eligible bachelorette." Victoria's hand found mine in the darkness. "You're not a nobody, Emma."
"Not to me." The driver pulled up to my apartment building. I should have stepped out, gone upstairs, pretended the night had never happened. Instead, I heard myself ask, "Do you want to come up for coffee?" Victoria's eyes darkened. "Coffee?" "Coffee," I confirmed, though we both knew that wasn't what I was really offering. My apartment suddenly felt impossibly small with Victoria inside it. She moved through the space like she belonged there, studying my books, my photos, the quiet details of my life. "You read poetry," she said, pulling a worn copy of Pablo Neruda from the shelf. "Guilty pleasure." She opened to a random page and read softly, "I love you without knowing how or when or from where. I love you simply, without problems or pride." The words lingered between us, heavy with meaning. "Beautiful," she murmured, but she was looking at me, not the book. I retreated to the kitchen, hands shaking as I made coffee I didn't want. Victoria followed, leaning against the counter, watching my every move. "Emma." I turned and she was right there, close enough to touch. "I need to tell you something." My heart pounded. "What?" "I've never felt this way about anyone, ever, and it terrifies me." I set the coffee cup down, my hands trembling. "Victoria, I know it's fast, I know it's crazy, but I can't pretend anymore that this is just attraction. It's more, so much more." She stepped closer, her hand rising to cut my cheek. "I think I'm falling in love with you." The words struck me like a physical blow. Victoria Hale, the woman who commanded respect and fear in equal measure, was standing in my kitchen confessing her love. "You don't know me," I whispered. "Not really." "I know enough. I know you're kind. The way you comforted your friend proved that. I know you're brilliant. 3 years of watching you work showed me that. And I know you're brave. You're here with me despite every rational reason to run." Her thumb traced my cheekbone. "And I know that when you look at me, you see past the money and the power to the woman underneath. Do you have any idea how rare that is?" I leaned into her touch, my resolve crumbling. "This is insane. Say you feel it too." I searched her eyes, seeing the vulnerability there, the hope and fear battling in her expression. "I feel it," I admitted. "God help me, I feel it too." Victoria's smile was radiant. She leaned in, her lips barely brushing mine. "May I?" Instead of answering, I closed the distance between us. The kiss started softly, tentative, as if we were both afraid the other might vanish.
Then Victoria's arms wrapped around me, pulling me closer, and the kiss deepened. She tasted like wine and possibility. Her fingers threaded through my hair, and I leaned into her, wanting to memorize every second of this moment. When we finally pulled apart, we were both breathless. "Stay," I whispered against her lips. Victoria hesitated, searching my face. "Are you sure?" "I've never been more sure of anything." She kissed me again, deeper this time, hunger matching hunger. Her hands traced my back, finding the zipper of my dress. "Emma," she murmured against my neck, "are you certain? Once we cross this line—" "We already crossed it the moment you told me you loved me." Something fierce flashed in her eyes. "I do love you, desperately." "Then show me." What followed blurred into whispered confessions and gentle touches. Victoria treated me like something precious, something sacred, tender and passionate all at once, vulnerable yet impossibly strong. Later, we lay tangled in my sheets, her head resting on my chest, her fingers tracing lazy patterns on my skin. "What happens tomorrow?" I asked softly, stroking her hair. "Tomorrow we figure out how to make this work. And if we can't?" Victoria lifted her head, searching my face. "Then we'll burn down the world trying." The fierce determination in her voice should have frightened me. Instead, it made me feel powerful. Victoria Hale would fight for me. For us. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. A text from Lily. "Holy Emma, you're all over social media. Call me, now." Victoria noticed and frowned. "Your friend doesn't approve." "She's worried about me. She thinks you're dangerous." "She's not wrong." Victoria's fingers traced my collarbone slowly. "I am dangerous. I destroy anything that threatens what's mine." "And what's yours?" Her gaze burned into me. "You are. From the moment you walked into my office 3 years ago, you've been mine. I just didn't realize it until yesterday." The possessiveness in her voice sent shivers through me. "Victoria, I know this is too much, too fast, but I can't help it." She exhaled softly. "I've spent my entire life in control, and with you, I'm completely out of control." She kissed me again, gentle, lingering. "I love you, Emma Reed, and I'm going to spend every day proving that you can trust me with your heart." As I drifted off to sleep in Victoria's arms, I knew everything had changed. Tomorrow we'd have to face the world, the gossip, the scrutiny, the impossible complications of what we'd done. But tonight, in the quiet darkness of my bedroom, with Victoria's heartbeat steady against my ear, I let myself believe that love might be enough, even if it destroyed us both. I woke up alone. The space beside me was cold, Victoria's warmth already fading into memory. For a brief, disorienting moment, I wondered if the entire night had been a dream. Then I noticed the note resting on my pillow, written in Victoria's precise, unmistakable handwriting. "Had to leave early for damage control. We need to talk. My office, 8 a.m., V." My stomach dropped. Damage control. That didn't sound promising. I checked my phone and immediately regretted it. The photo from the gala had exploded across social media. Victoria Hale was trending, alongside endless speculation about her mystery girlfriend. The comments scrolled past in a brutal blur, some supportive, others vicious. Finally, the Ice Queen found someone to melt her heart. Who is this nobody? Gold digger alert. Emma Reed, Victoria's assistant, mixing business with pleasure. She's using her for sex and money, calling it now. Each word felt like a knife twisting in my chest. By the time I reached the office, my hands were shaking. Victoria's assistant, Margaret, gave me a pitying look. "She's been in meetings since 6 a.m. The board is concerned. I knocked on Victoria's door, my heart pounding. Come in. Victoria sat behind her desk, every inch the powerful CEO. Her hair was pulled back tight, her expression carefully neutral. The woman who had whispered love confessions in my ear the night before was gone. Sit, she said, without lifting her eyes from her computer. I perched on the edge of the chair, suddenly feeling like a reprimanded child. Emma, the board held an emergency meeting this morning. Her voice was cold, professional. They're concerned about the publicity. What kind of concerns? She finally looked at me, and I saw the exhaustion in her eyes, the kind that carried real consequences, the kind that threatened her position as CEO. My blood ran cold, because of me, because of us. Victoria stood and moved to the window. They think I'm having a midlife crisis, that I'm making poor decisions driven by emotion instead of logic. Are you? She spun around, eyes flashing. What do you think, Emma? I canceled $1 million meeting to have lunch with you. I took you to the most photographed event of the year. I spent the night in your bed instead of preparing for the Henderson merger. Each word felt like a slap, so this was a mistake. I don't know. Victoria's mask finally cracked, confusion surfacing beneath it. I've worked my entire life to get where I am. I've sacrificed everything, relationships, friendships, happiness for this company. And now I'm wondering if I'm about to lose everything for a woman I've known for 3 years, but really met just 3 days ago. The words struck me like a physical blow. I stood, my legs unsteady. I see. Victoria, that's not what I meant. No, it's exactly what you meant. Tears burned my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. You're right, this was insane. I'm nobody. You're Victoria Hale. What was I thinking? Don't do that, she said sharply. Don't diminish yourself. Why not? Everyone else already is. I pulled out my phone and held it up. Look at what they're saying about me. Gold digger, nobody, user. Victoria's face darkened as she read. These people don't know you, but they do know the situation. Powerful CEO, lowly assistant. It's a cliché, Victoria, and clichés exist for a reason. So what are you saying? I took a shaky breath. I'm saying maybe the board is right. Maybe you are making decisions based on emotion instead of logic. Victoria's eyes hardened. And what would you have me do? What you've always done, I said quietly. Choose your career over everything else. Silence stretched between us, heavy with everything we weren't saying. Is that what you want? Victoria asked, her voice barely more than a whisper. What I want doesn't matter. I'm just the assistant, remember? She flinched as if I'd struck her. Emma! I should go. I have work to do. I turned toward the door, but her voice stopped me. If you walk out that door, if you reduce what happened between us to some sordid office affair, then you're right. You are just the assistant. I turned back, tears finally spilling free. And if I stay, what then? You'll choose me over your life's work? You'll risk everything you've built for someone you barely know? Victoria didn't answer. Her silence was answer enough. That's what I thought. I wiped my eyes, struggling to salvage what little dignity I had left. I'll have my resignation letter on your desk by the end of the day. Emma, wait! But I was already gone. I fled to the bathroom, the only place I could fall apart without witnesses. I locked myself in a stall and sobbed, for the dream that had lasted one perfect night, for the woman I'd glimpsed beneath Victoria's armor, for the love I'd been foolish enough to believe in. My phone buzzed, a text from Victoria. Please don't do anything rash, we can figure this out. I deleted it without replying. Another message. I meant what I said last night, all of it. Delete. Emma, please talk to me. Delete. I stayed in that bathroom stall for 20 minutes until my tears finally dried and my breathing steadied. When I emerged, I looked terrible, but inside I felt numb, hollow. Margaret was waiting at my desk. "Emma, Miss Hale asked me to give you this." She handed me an envelope with my name written in Victoria's unmistakable handwriting. Inside was a single sheet of paper. "Emma, I know I handled this morning badly. I know I hurt you, but please don't let my cowardice destroy what we found together."
Yes, I'm scared. Terrified. I've never felt this vulnerable, this out of control, but I'd rather lose my job than lose you. Give me a chance to prove that you matter more than any board, any company, any career. I love you. That hasn't changed. Victoria. I stared at the letter until the words blurred. Then I folded it carefully and slipped it into my purse. But I didn't go back to her office. Instead, I sat at my desk and began typing my resignation letter, each word feeling like a small death. Because sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes the world is too big, too cruel, too eager to destroy something beautiful simply because it doesn't follow the rules. And sometimes the kindest thing you can do for someone you love is walk away before you ruin their life entirely. I never sent the resignation letter, not because I changed my mind, but because at 3 p.m. my world imploded. Emma Reed, right? The woman standing at my desk was blonde and polished, a recorder already in her hand. "Jessica Chen, Financial Tribune. I'd love to ask you a few questions about your relationship with Victoria Hale." My blood turned to ice. "I'm sorry, who are you?" "A reporter. Word is you're the mystery woman who's captured the Ice Queen's heart. Our readers are dying to know, how does it feel to go from assistant to girlfriend?" What's the secret to taming Victoria Hale? I stood so fast my chair skidded backward. "I have no comment." "Come on, Emma," Jessica said smoothly. "This is your moment. Tell us about the real Victoria. Is she as cold in private as she is in the boardroom, or does she have a softer side only you get to see?" Heads were turning now. Conversations died mid-sentence. Whispers spread across the office like smoke. "Please leave," I said, my voice shaking despite my effort to steady it. "Just one quote. How long have you two been sleeping together? Did it start before or after you became her assistant?" The implication hit like a slap. "Get out now." "Is it true she's considering stepping down as CEO?" Jessica continued, unfazed. "Our sources say the board is pressuring her to choose between the company and her relationship with you." My heart stopped. "What?" Jessica's smile sharpened, predatory. "You didn't know? There's an emergency board meeting scheduled for tomorrow morning. Word is they're giving her an ultimatum." The air seemed to leave my lungs. Before I could say another word, Victoria's office door flew open. "What the hell is going on out here?" Her voice cut through the office like a blade. Conversations fell silent instantly. Victoria's gaze locked onto the reporter, and something dangerous flickered behind her eyes. "Security," she said coldly. "The board meeting is tomorrow at 9. The words landed like a verdict. "And the folder?" I asked quietly. Victoria didn't answer right away. She opened it, spreading the contents across her desk with practiced precision. Legal briefs, ethics reviews, risk assessments. My name appeared more times than I could count. "They're framing it as a governance issue," she said. "Conflict of interest, abuse of power, reputational risk." I swallowed hard. "So it really is an ultimatum?" "Yes," she finally met my eyes. "End the relationship publicly and permanently, or step down." The room felt suddenly too small, too tight, like it was closing in on us. "This is bigger than gossip now," I said. "They're going to destroy you." Victoria's jaw clenched. "They'll try." "You can't fight the board," I whispered. "They'll eat you alive." "I've been fighting men like them my entire career."
Her voice softened, just slightly. But this time they've found leverage. Me. I stood, pacing the length of the office. Then the answer is obvious. No. Yes, I said firmly. You end it. You tell them it was a mistake. You keep your job, your company, everything you built. I won't sacrifice you to save myself. I'm not asking you to, I said, turning to face her. I'm asking you to be Victoria Hale, the woman who always chooses logic over emotion, the woman who survives. Her eyes burned. And what about the woman who loves you? That nearly broke me. She survives too, I said softly, just not like this. Silence stretched between us, thick and unbearable. If I do this, she said slowly, they won't stop. They'll dig into your life, your past, your career. You'll never escape the narrative that you slept your way into relevance. I already can't escape it, but I can live with that. What I can't live with is being the reason you lose everything. Victoria crossed the room in 3 strides, stopping inches from me. You don't get to decide your worth for me. And you don't get to martyr yourself for love, not when I didn't ask you to. Her hands fell to her sides, fists clenched. What are you saying, Emma? She asked quietly. I took a shaky breath. I am saying we take the decision out of their hands. How? She asked, eyes narrowed. I resign, today, publicly. No scandal, no relationship, just an assistant who leaves. No, she said instantly. Yes, I replied, because if I leave first, the board loses its leverage, and you keep your seat. Victoria shook her head slowly. You think that ends this? You think I just go back to being who I was before? I think, I said, voice breaking, that sometimes love means choosing the ending that hurts less in the long run. Her composure finally cracked, just for a moment. If you walk out that door, she said hoarsely, this won't just be strategy. It will be goodbye. I held her gaze, every instinct screaming to stay, to choose her. I know. Neither of us moved. The clock on the wall ticked loudly between us, and for the first time since I'd known her, Victoria Hale looked powerless. They want me to issue a statement, she said quietly, about my personal indiscretions and how they won't affect my professional judgment, and if I refuse, they'll call for a vote of no confidence. My stomach turned. Victoria, you have to do it. You have to choose the company. Her eyes narrowed. Why? Because it's your life's work. Because you sacrificed everything to get here. Because I'm not worth losing everything you've built. She slammed her hand onto the desk, the sound sharp and final. Stop telling me what you're worth. Then tell me, I demanded, my voice breaking. Tell me I'm worth more than Hale Enterprises. Tell me I'm worth more than your legacy, your reputation, your entire identity. Victoria stared at me, and I saw the battle raging behind her eyes. Finally, her shoulders sagged. I can't, she whispered. The words struck like a physical blow. I know, it's okay. I understand, I really do. Tears streamed down my face, but my voice stayed steady. This company is who you are. Without it, the world would reduce you to a woman who fell for her assistant. That's not true, she said weakly. I stood, wiping my eyes. You built this empire from nothing. You're a legend. You're Victoria Hale. And I'm nobody. You're the woman I love. But love isn't enough, Victoria. Not when the world is watching. Not when your entire life hangs in the balance. I moved toward the door, heart pounding, but her hand caught my arm. What if I choose you? I turned back, seeing desperation in her eyes. Then you'll resent me someday. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but someday you'll remember everything you sacrificed, and I can't bear to live with that. So what are you saying? I whispered. I'm saying goodbye. Her grip tightened, her green eyes shimmering. Emma, please. I choked on the words, my chest aching. I love you. I love you so much, but I love you enough to walk away before I destroy you. I pulled free and headed for the door. If you leave now, Victoria's voice broke, raw and unguarded. Don't come back. I can't do this again. I can't watch you walk away twice. I paused, hand on the doorknob. I know, Emma, she said softly. I turned one last time, committing her face to memory, the woman I loved, the woman I had to leave behind. I would have chosen you, she whispered. If you'd let me, I would have chosen you. I know, I said again. That's why I can't let you. I walked out of Victoria Hale's office without looking back, but as I cleared my desk, I could hear her through the door, making calls, her voice sharp, precise, unyielding. The Ice Queen had returned, and she was preparing for war. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. The board meeting is at 9 a.m. tomorrow. If you really love her, you'll be there. A friend. My heart raced. Someone wanted me at that meeting. But why? As I stepped out of Hale Enterprises for the last time, a thought struck me. Maybe this wasn't over. Maybe Victoria Hale wasn't the only one who could fight for what she loved. By 8:45 a.m., I stood outside the Hale Enterprises boardroom, hands shaking as I clutched the folder that could change everything. The anonymous text had pushed me to dig into the board members' backgrounds. What I'd uncovered in public records and financial filings had kept me awake all night, but it might be enough to save Victoria's career, if she'd let me. Through the glass doors, I saw them take their seats, 12 of Manhattan's most powerful executives, poised and ready to destroy the woman I loved. Victoria entered the room like a warrior stepping onto the battlefield. Tailored black suit, hair pulled back tight, expression carved from ice. She commanded every eye in the room without saying a word. I couldn't hear the conversation, but I didn't need to. Body language spoke volumes. Stern faces, crossed arms. Victoria alone at the head of the table, outnumbered and isolated. My phone buzzed. Now or never. A friend. I took a steadying breath and pushed open the doors. I'm sorry to interrupt, I said, my voice firmer than I felt, but I have information the board needs to hear. Victoria's eyes widened. Emma, what are you doing here? I'm saving your job, I said. Moving to the front of the room, I felt 12 pairs of eyes bore into me. My name is Emma Reed, and yes, I'm the woman in the photographs with Miss Hale. Murmurs spread like wildfire. But before you destroy her career over a relationship, you should know what I discovered about 3 of your board members. I opened the folder, pulling out the documents. Mr. Harrison, you've been embezzling funds through your charity foundation. Ms. Peterson, your husband's construction company has overcharged Hale Enterprises, funneling money into your personal accounts. And Mr. Chen, you've been selling insider information to competitors. The room erupted in outrage. This is preposterous, voices shouted. Harrison stood abruptly, his face red with anger. You can't prove any of this. Actually, I can, I said, spreading the documents across the table. Bank records, email trails, witness statements, everything was there. Victoria stared at me, awe in her eyes. Emma, how did you... I spent the night digging through public records and financial filings, I said. Amazing what you can find when you know where to look. The board members leaned in, scanning the documents. Their faces grew pale. This is blackmail, Peterson hissed. No, I said calmly, this is justice. You want to destroy Victoria's career because she fell in love? Fine, but let's make sure everyone's secrets are on the table. I turned to address the full board. Victoria Hale has dedicated her life to this company. She's increased profits by 300% in 5 years. She's made Hale Enterprises the most respected financial firm on Wall Street. And you want to fire her because she's human enough to fall in love? The optics, one board member began. The optics of what? A successful woman finding happiness? Or are you worried that if Victoria can have a personal life and excel professionally, it makes the rest of you look bad? Victoria rose slowly. Emma, you don't have to do this. Yes, I do, I said, turning to her, my heart breaking at the vulnerability in her eyes. Because I love you. And I was wrong yesterday. Love is enough. It has to be. The board still has concerns, Harrison tried again. The board has bigger problems than Victoria's love life, I cut in sharply, like explaining to the SEC why 3 of its members are about to be investigated for fraud. The room went dead silent. Victoria's voice was calm, controlled, unmistakably powerful. I believe we should table this discussion pending a full investigation into these allegations. Agreed, said one of the remaining board members. This meeting is adjourned. Chairs scraped back, footsteps faded, and soon the room was empty, except for the 2 of us. The weight of everything unsaid hung heavy in the air. You came back, Victoria said softly. I never really left. I was just scared. And now I'm terrified, but I'd rather be terrified with you than safe without you. She stepped closer, her hand rising to cup my cheek. I meant what I said yesterday. I would have chosen you. I know. That's why I had to choose you first. She kissed me then, soft, sweet, and full of promise. What happens now? I asked against her lips. Victoria smiled, resting her forehead against mine. Now we figure out how to make this work. Together. The media attention won't disappear overnight. Let them talk. I'm done hiding who I am, who I love. Victoria took my hand, leading me toward the door. Besides, I have the best assistant in the city. I'm sure she can handle a little publicity. I laughed, the sound bouncing off the empty boardroom walls. Former assistant. I quit, remember? Consider yourself rehired with a promotion. To what? Victoria's smile lit up the room. Partner, in every sense of the word. 6 months later, I stood in Victoria's penthouse, watching the sunset turn the city to gold. The media frenzy had faded, the corrupt board members replaced, and Hale Enterprises stronger than ever. Victoria wrapped her arms around me from behind, pressing a gentle kiss to my neck. Any regrets? She murmured. I leaned back, feeling the steady rhythm of her heartbeat. Only one. What's that? I wish I'd been brave enough to love you sooner. She turned me in her arms, eyes glistening with unshed tears. We have the rest of our lives to make up for lost time. Is that a promise? It's a guarantee. She kissed me as Manhattan blazed golden beneath the setting sun. And I realized that sometimes the most unforgettable love stories are the ones that almost never happen. The ones where you have to fight for every glance, every touch, every tomorrow. Victoria Hale had shown me that love isn't just about falling. It's about choosing to stay fallen, even when the world is trying to pull you apart. And I would choose her every single day for the rest of my life. If this story touched your heart, hit that like button and subscribe for more emotional journeys. Share your thoughts in the comments below. I love hearing from you. Until next time, remember, the greatest love stories are always the ones where 2 people choose each other.